I'm Marty and this is Cooking at the Krause House. Today we're making something unbelievable. Can you imagine serving this dinner to your friends or your family? They're gonna love you forever. This is braised short ribs, which sounds super intimidating, but it's not. It's really delicious. It looks good, it smells divine, and I think you're gonna like it. To make these short ribs, you're gonna need your Dutch oven. And I like to use this one that's cast iron on the inside, but I've also used the enamel coated and it works just as well. And then you're gonna need 4 tablespoons of oil, but divided. So I put 2 in each. And then you just need some kosher salt and pepper. And then this is 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. And these are 4 cute little short ribs. And this is 2 cups of beef broth, and this is 2 cups of red wine. Now, even if you're not a big drinker, it's okay to put into your, or a drinker at all. It's okay to put in your cooking. All the alcohol burns out, and oh my gosh, it smells so delicious, and it makes your gravy taste like heaven. You also need 1/2 of an onion, 2 of these whole garlic heads. Now, they're gonna look scary when we put them in, but it all works out. And then also some chives that you've cut up super tiny. It says to use 1/2 cup of chives, but as you know, I'm not a huge onion fan, so I don't use that much, but use as much as you'd like. And then you're supposed to use 2 sprigs of thyme. Now, I live in Arizona, and the sun is not being kind to my thyme plant, so I used a few sprigs of thyme. 2 ribs of celery, and it says to use 2 carrots. I just happen to have these already peeled and cut up little carrots, so I'm just using about 8 of those. And that's what you need to make this delicious short rib dinner. Since my carrots are already cut up, since I use that kind, I just want to show you what we're gonna do with this onion. So I'm gonna cut off the root here and take off that first layer that has all the paper and stuff. And then you don't really have to chop it very fine, and the reason is because we're not gonna eat it. It's just in there for the flavor, and then at the end we're gonna just strain all this stuff out. So I'm just gonna chop it up a little. And they can be big hunks because, like I said, nobody's eating it. We're just taking them out. So there's my onion chopped and ready to go. And then kind of the same thing with this. We're just gonna cut these celeries into about 1.5 inches. And now they're ready to go. And then the trickiest thing we're gonna do is we're gonna cut these garlic heads right in half, and we're gonna keep the paper on, which is gonna seem weird, but it works out, I'm not kidding. So they kind of stay stuck together because of the paper. And any of the super loose paper we can take off. And any of those loose things, little cloves, that we're gonna keep those. So we're gonna cut this right in half. And they're gonna look just like this, and we're gonna actually cook them, woohoo, just like that. So, take off some of that paper that's falling off. But all the rest we're gonna cook in there. And remember, it doesn't really matter because we're gonna strain it in the end. All right, we're all ready. We have all of our ingredients ready to go, and we're gonna start cooking. The first thing we're gonna do is braise the short ribs. The first thing we're gonna do is preheat our oven to 275 degrees. The next thing we wanna do is add 2 of our 4 tablespoons into our Dutch oven. We're gonna let those heat up a little bit. And then what we're gonna do is cook each side of the short ribs. So we're gonna put them in first. That should take about 6 minutes if you did about 1.5 minutes on each side. Except for we're not gonna do the ends, just the 4 sides. So we're gonna start them like this, and we're gonna salt and pepper each side that's up top. So we're going to take our kosher salt, just sprinkle a little on. And then we'll do the same with pepper. And then we're just going to let them sizzle for about 1.5 minutes. All right, when it's been 1.5 minutes, we're just going to, we're just going to push them over. And that's why I'm wearing an apron, is because they pop a little bit. And you should have this on about medium to medium high heat, so it's pretty hot. And now we're going to do the same thing, and we're just going to salt the side that's up. And then we'll pepper the side that's up. And we'll let those cook for about 1.5 minutes. Okay, it's been 1.5 minutes, so I'm going to turn them again. And then the same thing, we're going to do some salt and pepper on the side that's up. Okay, this will be our last turn. And we'll salt and pepper. And we'll let those go for 1.5 minutes. So once we've cooked it on all the sides, we're going to just take them out for a minute. Set them on a plate. And they're just going to rest until we're ready to use them. Now you can see all that oil in there and some of the brown bits from the meat. We want to save those, but we're going to completely dump out this oil. We don't want any of that. We're going to get rid of it. Okay, you can see I didn't scrape out the pan or anything. There's still seasonings and all of that left in. And now I'm going to dump in my other 2 tablespoons of oil. And I'm going to take those 2 garlics that I cut in half, and I'm going to place them, the garlic side down. And this is on medium heat again. You can see the paper still on. That's okay. Not going to worry about that. Put that one upside down. And then we had a few cloves that fell off, and we'll put those in too. Now we're just going to let these cook for about 2.5 minutes to 3 minutes, just until they're all nice and brown. So I'm just going to show you, because you don't have to take it out. Can you see how that garlic's brown like that? That's exactly what we wanted. We didn't stir it around or anything. That was it. We're just browning that part. The next thing we're going to do is add our vegetables. So we're going to throw in our celery, our onion, our carrots, and our thyme. And then we're just going to stir those around. Woo! We want to cook those until they start getting a little bit soft. So we're going to cook it for about 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, this was about 10 minutes, and you can see the vegetables have just started to get a little bit soft, but they're not all the way soft, and they're not super dark brown either, but that's about right where we want them. And now we're going to add the tomato paste. And we're going to stir all the vegetables around in that until they're pretty well coated. After we get it all stirred in, we're going to just let it cook for just a couple of minutes, just to kind of let it caramelize. I don't know if you can see, but it's sort of starting to caramelize on the bottom, which is what we want. And the next thing we're going to add in is our 2 cups of wine. And then we're just going to kind of stir till all of those little pieces come off and the pan is smooth again. And we're going to let it cook and simmer a couple of minutes. I wish you could smell how yummy this smells. But all those little pieces that were on the bottom, they come off as you stir. Then we're just gonna wait for that to simmer, and we're gonna let it simmer about 3 minutes. That's been simmering about 3 minutes. Just kind of reduces a little bit, takes the edge off of it. And now we're going to add our beef stock. And then we're going to put our short ribs back in. And we want to put them in so that the bone is up. Just gonna get them down in all that liquid. Okay, there's quite a bit of liquid in there, but let's say that it didn't cover our beef ribs. Then what we would want to do is add a little bit of water or some more beef broth to make sure they get covered. Okay, we're just gonna wait a few minutes and let that start simmering. Then we're going to put the lid on. And remember, we're baking at 275, so it's pretty low. And we're gonna let it cook for about 4 hours. These are sort of small ribs, so I would say 3.5 is gonna be great. And in that time, we don't open the oven or check on them. We just let them cook for 3.5 hours, and then we'll get them out.
What about your chives?
Oh, also, I wanted to add a few more sprigs of thyme because the sun had kind of eaten up my other ones and felt like it needed a little more. So we'll add those, get it to where it simmers, then we'll put the lid on and put it in the oven. So this is it. These are them. Who wouldn't be excited to get this for their dinner? There's kind of a lot of little prep things to it, but nothing is difficult. It's all super easy, and when it's finished, unbelievable. You make a little bit of artisan bread with this, and maybe some broccolini or some kind of vegetable, or skip the vegetable. Play like the chives are it. But this is a delicious dinner. If you serve this to your guests, they're gonna wanna come back again and again. I hope you try it. I hope you like it. I hope you watch the video and like it and share it and leave a comment if you want, but please try it. It's delicious.